So at this point, you've created a default Blackboard Collaborate Ultra room in your course. Let's go take a look and see where we've set that up. And this is what the basic view looks like for the course that you set up. They're all going to look like that initially. If we look at a bit of annotation here for the basic course, we see that we have on the left-hand side the Collaborate menu icon. It's called a hamburger. These three lines call it a hamburger icon. So that's the Collaborate menu. On the right-hand side, we have the Session Help icon, this question mark. This, of course, is the room link itself. You can see it is currently unlocked and available. And over here on the right-hand side, these three dots indicate the Session Options icon. And we'll be working with that in just a little bit. As I noted, the default room that you set up is unlocked. It's available. It's all ready to go. You don't need to create a special session for the course. To see the settings for the room or to edit them, click on the Session Options icon, the three dots on the right-hand side, and that brings up the Session Items menu. You can see that you can join the course room. You can share out an anonymous dial-in number for people to come in anonymously using the phone. You can edit the settings, view reports, copy a guest link to allow people to come in whether or not they have a KSU ID, and of course you can lock the course room. If you decide to share a phone number to let people dial in, they come in without you knowing who they are. It's anonymous, and depending on how they're dialing in, they may be charged long distance rates, so that's important for them to know. The reason to use view reports most likely is to see who attended a session, and that's covered in another area. By default, the initial course room that you set up is always open to students in the class. They can enter it from Blackboard, whether or not you're holding a session, whether or not you're in it. In that classroom, they can communicate using audio or video or chatting. It might be something that works very well for you and your class, but if you don't want them to be in the room without you when there's not a session, you can lock it. So you would, of course, click on Lock Course Room. To unlock it when you want to allow entry, you would click on the room name, select Unlock Course Room from the pop-up window. If you are working in this course and you don't click the Join Session link within 60 seconds, you'll see it changes to Get a Secure Link. You would click that option and click on it a second time to enter the course room if that's what you wanted to do. Let's take a look at the edit settings to see what it is you can work with within the room. First of all, note that this brings up two tabs. It brings up the Event Details tab, and by option you can click on the Session Settings tab. In the Event Detail tab, one more time, you see the anonymous dial-in and the PIN that would be shared out. Collaborate gives each anonymous user a name, which would be caller, followed by a sequential number, 1001, 10023, etc. Users on computing devices can see this identification in the attendees pane of the Collaborate panel and a telephone number appearing by that name. Anonymous dial-in allows all users joining by phone to use the same PIN. The PIN can be sent to users through email or included in an entry on the course organizer calendar. Clicking on the optional Guest Access icon brings up a window that allows you to choose a role for your guests: participant, presenter, moderator. And it also then brings up an email, and that link can be copied and shared to anybody by email or text, and it allows them to enter whether or not they have a KSU ID. The Session Settings tab brings up a window with several choices for the room. You can see initially you can choose what the default will be for any students or attendee roles. They can be brought in as participant, presenter, or moderator. Most likely you'll have them as being participants. And then you can choose whether or not to allow downloading of any recordings that you make, if you want all chat messages to be anonymous, if you want to show only the profile picture for the moderator, no one else, if you want to allow participants to share their audio, share their video, post chat messages, draw on whiteboards and files, and if you want to allow students, attendees to join the session using a telephone. Also, you can choose whether or not to allow students to participate privately with only the moderators, whether you want the moderators to supervise all private chats, and if you're running a very large class, you have to enable more than 250 students to join in. When you're done with your options, just click Save or Cancel to exit without making any changes. At that point, you've edited the room to your particular specifications.